I do want to, and whatever. Welcome to the final word. Thank you for listening. We're in the middle of a conversation that I want to be on the podcast, so we're just going to start recording and get into it. But all the things: subscribe, tell a friend, all of that nonsense. Go right ahead. But I'm getting ready to move soon, and something that I just mentioned to Gary. Gary, hello, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for
Well,
having me again.
of course, always. You are the co-host. It'd be weird if I didn't have you. I am getting ready to move, and I mentioned to you that I can't wait to just throw away all of my stuff. I get so excited when I could get rid of things, just always. And I have sort of developed way too much stuff living in the same place for 6 years, or at least I think so. I wanted to bring this up on the show because on multiple occasions, literally 2 weeks ago, my friend sent me a video basically making fun of my apartment and how like bare bones it is. There was like a TikTok video, and not to the point where it's like the middle-aged bro with like the TV and the lawn chair and like, the video game headset.
Yes,
I,
I've
I'm
seen
not
this.
I'm not there, but I would say multiple people in my life have made comments to me basically being like, "Where's all your stuff? Like you don't have a lot of stuff." And my friend sent me a video basically making fun of me the other day. Some video showing an apartment basically, very bare bones or whatever you want to call it, minimalist. I like minimalist because it
I
makes me
like that
sound
too.
sophisticated.
Right, smart.
But other people would just say that I don't know. I have like some sort of serial killer vibe.
Loser.
I'm like a sniper with just a mattress on the floor. Um,
Do you have like a suicide fridge where there's nothing in there? Like you're-
sometimes.
okay.
I just went to the grocery store and I have a full fridge right now, and it did look surprisingly different than it had in the past few months. There is an empty pizza box at the bottom of my fridge right now. I will say that
The lack of female influence.
for sure. But there is like this constant theme. It's always been women for sure. I've never had a dude come to my apartment and be like, "Where's all your stuff?"
Yeah, we don't care.
But multiple women. This is a friend. I've had women I dated in the past make comments, but this was a friend the other day that sent me this video, basically again making fun of what my apartment looks like, and my response was, you think that's bad? Just wait until I move into my new place. I'm gonna have even less shit because I can't wait to throw everything away when I move. And I felt like there is sort of a weird, maybe I'm really, stretching here, but I feel like there is a death conversation to what I'm talking about right now because
Mm,
I think people like to collect, like to have stuff, want to have a lot of things
hmm
because when they die, they want like people to have something of theirs, or they
hmm
want to like leave some sort of mark by, here's all my stuff and I'm gone, but like all my things are still here. When in reality, I think most of your shit's getting thrown in the dumpster or donated to the Goodwill. But I think there is something to the purchasing a lot of things and the feel of mortality. I think those two things are connected. Or am I just totally, just pulling what's the phrase pulling strings? I don't know.
I don't think that you're wrong. I think that collecting is a way of probably, yeah, there's a preservance there. These are my things. Um, you surround yourself with your things, and then maybe when you get to a point where like life gets weird, you start thinking, who's going to get my things, or who do I want these things to go to? Who do I want to remember me? Maybe that's kind of it too. It's like I've just built this like it's so stupid. It's so dumb, Rob. But I'm like building a DVD collection.
Yeah.
It's 2024. I'm
It
building
sure
a DVD collection.
sure is. Yeah.
But I know exactly who I want these DVDs to go to when I die.
All right. Well, see that, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. I think people are. not everything, but like their book collection or their DVD
Mm-hmm.
collection or their record collection or their
Right.
baseball card collection. Or, my dad is like constantly making things that I think he hopes some of us will take with us when he dies. Like
He made
there's
his own urn.
he made his own urn. The man literally made everything. He made his kitchen table, he made the chairs for it, he made his bed frame, and he made his urn. The guy just builds everything that he sits or lays or dies in.
All
And
three.
he made all of them. And I think there's something to that. And I think when somebody comes to my apartment and doesn't see a lot of stuff, they may not realize it, but I think that I don't know, it seems empty, it seems sad to them. But I think maybe in the back of their mind, it does sort of somehow remind them of their or maybe my mortality. And it freaks them out a little bit because they're like, where's all your stuff? What else is there if not to have all the things?
Yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from. There is a weird thing too, and before we started recording, I think you said you called yourself a minimalist, which is like a nice way to describe what you're doing. But
Yeah.
yeah, maybe you're not trying to saddle people with your shit. I don't want anybody to have to deal with anything because again, this is called obsessed with death. You are obsessed with death. And so maybe you don't collect things, maybe you don't like make hobbies that like build up because you don't want anybody to have to deal with your stuff when you're gone.
Absolutely. And the thing is, like, I do keep things. Like I have photos and cards and letters, and I have concert tickets from 25 years ago. I have movie ticket stubs from 15 years ago. Things that are important to me, I keep, I collect, I hold on to. I have like one big box and one little box, and that pretty much can hold everything I would consider needing in my
Okay.
life. I mean, buddy, I'm so old that the first road trip I ever went on, we had to use an atlas that we bought at Walmart. I
Jesus.
it I have that atlas from the first road trip I ever went to in like 2008 or something.
For the
That
younger listeners, that's called a map.
it's a map. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Me and a buddy drove from Arizona to Seattle. My first road trip ever, my first car. One of my favorite memories. I've kept that for 26 years or 20, whatever it is, 20
Meant
years.
something to you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice memory. I love looking at it and thinking about the trip. It was a great trip. And okay, so what? I'm sorry that I don't have, you know, a million trinkets and
Yeah. I have a
bookshelves
bunch of like
covered in shit,
yeah,
like
I do. Look at this shit behind me. I got what are those things called? Pop figures.
yeah, I know, yeah, 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 I know what you're saying.
I
Yeah.
got a million. I got like five of them. I got like 100 records. I got at this point, I probably have like 50 DVDs. Yeah, I'm the opposite of you.
Well, I see. I was going to say, I do think there is something romantic about going into somebody's home after they've died and sitting down and going through their stuff and
Hmm.
flipping through photo books and looking at their bookshelves. I do love all of that. And all of that exists in my apartment, but it's just smaller versions of that stuff. I don't have really a point or a way to end this, but I just thought it was interesting with getting ready to move and the fact that I made a note to talk about this. I know it sort of came up organically while we were chatting before the show started, but I made a note to bring this up because I did think it was interesting how often people say that to me and how it clearly makes them uncomfortable. They think it's funny, they make a joke, they send a TikTok video. I love it. That's great. It doesn't bother me at all. I could care less. I just now, after having so many of these conversations about death and really kind of getting into it, especially the conversation I had with Sheldon Solomon. I mean, that guy is like just chock full of thoughts and ideas on mortality. And basically what I'm saying is, hoarders are clearly extremely afraid to die. I think that
Hmm.
there should be some sort of study done on like fear of mortality and all the people on the A&E channel on that Hoarders TV show because there's something there for sure. And also just people who constantly need to I've never been somebody that needed to buy things. You know, it's like I have like two pairs of shoes and I'll wear them until they got holes in them and then I'll just buy new ones. I don't know. I never needed stuff and you'd think with this obsession and my fear of death, I'd be constantly buying things, but for whatever reason, that just doesn't exist with me.
Why don't you want to take your stuff that you have now with you though? Like
Well,
why do you want to just wash clean?
I mean, look, I'm not going to literally throw away everything in my apartment, but I do look around pretty much every night now
And you're
as I'm
like,
getting closer to knowing that I'm going to be moving. And I'm
mm-hmm.
like, oh, yeah, I'm definitely throwing that away. Can't wait to chuck that. I'm sure I'll still have way more stuff than I want to. But honestly, buddy, it's like,
Can I ask you something
yeah,
quickly?
yeah.
Did you move a lot as a kid? Like how many
Um,
elementary schools did you go to?
no, not a ton, like three.
Okay.
We moved from New York to Arizona, and then in Arizona we moved only one time. I went to one school, then we moved. I went to another, and then that was really it. So not a ton of moving.
That's
Yeah.
enough though.
I mean, it was a good amount. I didn't love. I was pretty upset about the move from New York to Arizona at the time.
You had
Now,
friends and you were at a how old were you?
like 11 probably. I was
Oh
young
shit,
still.
that's a tough one. Yeah.
But it
That's
was
like
like
fifth grade.
yeah, and it was like I think the high school I would have went to started at seventh grade, so like it was seventh through 12th. So I was
Okay.
just like I think I was just sort of becoming or like making I had good friends in New York and whatever. I was kind of bummed about that, but now it's like I'm glad we moved to Arizona because some of the best people I know is from living in Arizona. But
You've
I don't
always
think
had good, great friends.
I don't think I don't think moving really had that much of an effect on me. It didn't really bug me that much.
I'm just wondering about like the idea of like leaving shit behind, like vacating your when you're so young, it probably doesn't matter. Like you don't think it matters because you're a kid and
Yeah.
you'll just get new shit. But I wonder if that influenced this philosophy where you're like, I'm just going to start a new slate. I want a new apartment. I want hardwood floors. I want this, want that. I want a new apartment, whatever it is. And then you
Yeah.
just are able to like kind of also philosophize like I just need new shit. I want to start clean somewhere.
I mean, I definitely fantasize about having just like a very minimal new apartment for sure. But I've always been like this. I mean, there was a period in my life where all of everything I owned fit in one box, and then I just had a mattress, and like that was it. I had a backpack, a box, and a bed, and like that was everything. That's
Do
all
you
I had.
remember?
I mean, I lived in a van for longer than you should as an adult.
Do you remember when I had to move in to your place for like a month before I moved to DC?
No, with
Okay.
the place, my dad's place.
Yeah, so I it wasn't a month. It was like 2 weeks probably, but
Oh yeah, I don't remember that.
yeah, so I moved out of Awatuki and I took everything I had and put it in your car, the Saturn that you had.
Oh yeah, the
And then
golden nugget. Shout
the
out to
Golden
her.
Nugget. Yeah, shout out that nug. And I lived with you for like 2 weeks before I moved to DC. But I was like so depressed about how little shit I had. And you were like, dude, it's okay. You'll just buy new stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna be all right.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't get attached to to what I consider the unimportant stuff. You know,
Hmm.
like I have artwork from friends
Yeah.
that was given to me 20 years ago that I still have
Hmm.
framed. It's hanging on my wall. I'll
That's
keep
what I
that
was gonna
forever.
say. Yeah.
You
Hmm.
know, I have, like I mentioned, I have that old map from the first road trip I ever went on. I have concert tickets. I have all of that stuff, and I'll keep that stuff forever. But you know, like books or I don't know, video games or I don't know. I'm looking at the first guitar I ever got when I was 16. I've kept that forever. I'll never get rid of that thing. It's got stickers on it that, are 25 years old. It's like
Play
it's the
us something.
best.
Play us something real quick.
I don't know how I would be able to do that. It's an electric guitar
Oh
with nothing
shit.
nothing to plug into.
There's no amp.
No, I don't have an amp. It's art now. I don't play that thing. That's art. Dude, I mean
You
it's the
got me.
coolest. You want to see it? Hold on, let me
Yeah,
grab it.
fuck
I
yeah,
want you to
dude.
see it. Hold on.
Okay. Killed me. It's art. Just hanging on a wall. Dave Grohl would beat you over the head with it.
Ah,
That's fantastic.
I mean,
Oh my God. Finch? I see a Finch
Finch.
sticker. Oh, fan beautiful. Is that that's a, what is that?
No, that's famous stars and straps.
Oh, famous stars and strap. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, dude, just drive through records, Atticus, the early November,
Oh, Atticus was
the starting
money.
line.
Oh, the starting line was a great band. I
Dude,
wore
I'm
Atticus stuff.
I'm going to see the starting line in like a month and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, they barely tour, they never play, but they're coming to Arizona for this festival. I'm pretty pumped on it.
That is sick.
But anyway, so
It's a good point. I really do understand what you're saying. I
yeah,
wonder if there's like my curious mind wonders if there's like a little something about you wanting to like vacate and leave shit behind.
I
And
just
like,
don't like clutter. I just don't like
yeah,
it's too much stuff. I can't breathe.
sorry.
I mean,
Yeah. I mean, again, like I said, if you look behind me, I love collecting shit. It's
yeah.
so dumb. It's something that only started happening like a year or two ago where I started being like, I want to get into stuff. I started a record collection like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I started collecting DVDs because I'm just absolutely a water brain. But all of that stuff, I like it. I like having it. I like looking at it, which is the weirdest part. Like I like just sitting up here and just like looking at my DVDs. It's so weird. I don't even watch half of them.
It reminds me of like penguins or like who like collect like shiny rocks, like or
Yeah.
like animals that just like
Yeah.
collect good like pretty looking things. You just
Yeah.
want to you just want to look at it. Like I get it. I totally get it. But I don't know, man. I just the less stuff, the better. There was a point in my life where I definitely feel like I enjoyed the fact that if I wanted to just like move to another country and on like a dime, I could. I mean, I remember there was a point in my life where I moved to across the country and I packed the morning of. Like that's how much like little stuff I had. I just packed like a few hours before my flight to move across the country because it was like, oh yeah, I'll just throw my clothes in a suitcase and then all the other stuff, my computer and like, I don't know.
Your gigantic portrait of Kramer.
Yeah,
You
that
brought
that
that.
yeah, my framed Cosmo Kramer. That poor guy got thrown in the back seat of a car and driven across. That guy drove across the country.
It
So
was
look,
your
look,
passenger.
you want to say I don't keep things? I drove Cosmo Kramer from one side of the country all the way to the other.
He did. He did.
Tell me that I don't keep anything. Tell that to Cosmo.
All right. I don't know.
Anyway,
Um,
I just thought it was interesting. I'll probably cut half of this conversation out of the goddamn
I think it
episode.
was funny. I liked
It
it,
was
and
fine.
it's a good it's a good like introspective like view of who you are and who I am. Like I like shit. I want people to go through my shit. I want people to have to sit there and cry and like listen to records that I bought and be like, "Oh my God, he loved this song."
Yeah.
But
And I
yeah, I
want to
under
get shot out of a cannon.
you do. You do. You truly do. If you say it twice, it's real.
It's for sure. That's 100% what I want to happen. So I don't know. Yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
It is
And
interesting.
it's a constant theme in my life is not having stuff. But I'm telling you, man, I get like excited walking around my apartment right at, these past couple of weeks, just looking at stuff like I can't wait to just fling you right into the dumpster.
Okay, if I had to ask, and maybe this is something you might not want to keep, but whatever.
Yeah.
If you had to look over your shoulder right now, like what would you keep?
I mean, everything that most of the stuff that's hanging on the wall behind me.
All the art
Those
stays.
but see, no, some of that art that's hanging up, two of those pieces are going in the trash.
Really? Which
Oh
ones?
yeah. The Baby Driver poster. The only reason I might keep that is because my dad made the frame. So I feel like I feel bad throwing it
Kind of
away because
fucked
he
up.
made it, but
You're
I just
fucked up.
don't. I just don't think I'm gonna have room for it or I'm gonna need it. And then there's one other piece of art that like was just like given to me from like a friend when they were moving. They were just like, "Here, I don't want to." They didn't want to throw it away, so they're like, "You just have it," and I just kept it. So, but it's just not important to me, and it wasn't important to them, so that'll just go in the trash. But every other piece of art that is either hanging on my wall or you know, there's some stuff on my desk, like all of that stuff. I have a piece of art that I just never hung that's just sitting on the floor. Oh, that was a gift. All of that stuff will stay. But yeah. All right. So let's get into this first story here. There was a story that came out where they found that human aging occurs in two distinct bursts rather than a gradual progress process. I could read. Um, the study, which monitored thousands of molecules in individuals aged 25 to 75, identified significant age-related changes around ages 44 and 60. So for pretty much, I don't know, our entire lives, everyone's entire lives, we all thought that we were progressively aging and our bodies were aging every year. Every year you have a birthday, you go, "Oh, another year older." Not really.
No,
That's not really true, at least according to this story. The first wave of changes affects cardiovascular health and metabolism of substances like caffeine and alcohol. I thought that was really interesting that they paid attention to that specifically, right? They're like, look, around 44 years old, your body treats caffeine and alcohol differently. Like I love that. Obviously, I guess it makes sense. Most people drink coffee. Most people go have a drink or more. And then the second wave impacts immune regulation, kidney function. So I guess that sort of makes sense, right? 60 and above. I love that they were able to put a number on it. I love that they were able to go, look, 44. That's the first age where shit really starts to go downhill. So and I don't know if this is the healthiest way to read into that, but my initial thought was, oh, cool. So like I could kind of fuck around until 44 or at least maybe 43. Look, at 42, I'll start getting my shit together. So
yeah,
then by 44, I'm in a good point mentally and physically healthy that when that first, wave hits at 44, I'll be ready for it. I just love that in my mind now, I have like a number that I could prepare for. Does that make you feel good or bad?
terrible. Because
It's like being told, "Hey, this is the first step in preparing for, getting older and aging legitimately and your health and this is where all of these little things that could kill you start coming 44 and now you could put it on your calendar." You
I'm
don't want to
so
know.
pissed. I'm so pissed that it's 44 because I'm 38 and I'm like, I'm fucking dying here.
Okay, so you don't mind that they're telling you this. You just don't love being so close to the age that it is.
I believe that I'm ahead of the curve. That's what I think sucks.
What does that mean?
I mean, I don't think I got till 44. This is exactly what it says. And I know you just read it, but I'm just going to restate it.
Yeah.
At the age of 44, changes include cardiovascular health. Already got that. Due to alcohol, caffeine, and
Those are the main two
lipids.
yeah, those are the main two though. Your body starts metabolizing caffeine and alcohol differently and probably other things.
Okay, well, I did that at 30, like fucking six. So,
Okay.
uh,
But
I'm a little
what do
pissed.
you, I don't fully understand what you're saying. You consumed those things to a point where you feel like your body already hit this first wave. You're saying you
Not
hit the
even the
first.
first wave, maybe, man. Maybe the second. 60. I'm not joking.
You've already hit the second wave in
I'm
in
pretty
in
sure.
aging.
Yes, I'm pretty sure because I feel like shit, and I know I don't consume any caffeine. I stopped I stopped drinking like energy drinks. I've never drank coffee. I stopped drinking energy drinks at like 20,
Yeah,
30 maybe. I was probably
yeah.
30. I stopped that. The alcohol is continued. And yeah, I was so amazed that like they were like 44 because I was like, what about 34?
Yeah, I mean, I think 34 is when, the hangovers start getting real bad and maybe, the caffeine doesn't start, hitting as hard as it used to. I think there's stuff like that. But this is really getting down to, dude, they studied the molecules. So
Yeah,
this is like literally, the things, the thing that keeps you together, the thing that keeps you going. If I could make a scientific statement, it's the
yeah.
molecules, man. Like those are
It's
that's
it's
that
just the
that's
molecules.
this is I look again. I thought it was a fascinating story. I love that somebody thought to do this type of research. I don't know. Maybe they were just studying thousands of people's molecules from 25 to 75, and they were just waiting to see what they find. I don't know
Hmm.
if their plan was to find this age-related change so specifically, but I love that they did. And again, this is why it comes back to like what we've talked about before, where it's like, would you want to know when you're going to die and how you're going to die? Most people, I think you're one of them, you don't want to know. You would rather not have that information. I would want all of it. This actually came up on another podcast that just came out, and it's something I think about often, but it's a quote from Breaking Bad where Walter White is talking to Hank about how he's like basically lived his entire life in fear, just constantly worried and scared about everything. And then I'm butchering the quote, but then he gets the diagnosis of cancer and he says he's never slept better.
Yeah,
I love that quote so much because I couldn't relate to anything more. The
I understand.
moment that I know when it's going to end,
Hmm.
I don't have to worry anymore because now I just know it's going to happen. So when they tell me at 44, this is when you got to start preparing because this is like the beginning of the end. Oh, but you can obviously fight this off by being healthy, being active, taking care of yourself. That first wave at 44 won't hit so hard if you take care of yourself. And then that second wave at 60, you probably don't have as much control over that one. But again, I think if you somewhat take care of yourself, these two waves aren't going to hurt as bad as they are. So I don't know. I got a lot of relief from this article. I'm
That's
still with
interesting.
you. I'm still with you with like I just turned 37 in July. So it was somewhat of a bummer to be like, all right, yeah, pretty close to 44. Definitely close, but I still got a little wiggle room. I still got a little time. I could have that extra piece of birthday cake or, that whatever I want to do. I could still
Grab that
I could
slice of New York cheesecake, no problem.
yeah, I could still be a dirt bag for a couple of more years. I think I've always kind of felt this way, but I always felt like once you hit 40, that's when it's like, all right, time to start getting your shit together because if you're lucky, you're at the halfway point. And most people don't make it to 80. You're lucky if
No,
you make it to 80s. So 40 is definitely the time to get it together. But I don't know. I really
they're
I love this article. I thought it was very, very interesting.
they're basically telling you in your mid 40s, stop drinking coffee, no more alcohol, and lipids, I think, is fat. So they're like, control your cholesterol. At 60, they're telling you no more fucking bread. Check
Well,
out
no,
your
they're just saying that your body metabolizes it differently. So act accordingly is what I'm getting from it. But I don't know. It would be I definitely would love to at some point have somebody come on the podcast who's actually smart and could really break this article down and talk to us about it. It's on my
I'm right
to-do
here.
list. I don't know if we could necessarily get a hold of the people who did the study, but I would love to find somebody, some sort of I don't know how much I trust the people that are like quote unquote health experts, but it's an idea that I've been looking into. I definitely want to do like a whole episode on that article. It's a work in progress, but I want to learn more about that.
This is right up your alley because you
Oh,
are on
dude,
the record about wanting to know exactly when you will die.
it's like they did the study for me. It's
Yeah.
like they knew what I was looking for, and they got as close as they possibly could through scientific research. So, like, look, Rob, We can't tell you when you're going to die, but we can give you waves.
We're gonna give you two checkpoints.
We've got two checkpoints for you to prepare for. And like again, it gives me something to look forward to work towards. If I make it to wave two, I'd be thrilled.
I can't imagine you on your 44th birthday like being like, oh man, oh man,
I'm just
sneaking
poking
up.
myself, just like waiting for like something to happen.
Yeah.
Molecules,
Your
man, they're pretty
dreams are gonna
crazy.
be crazy at 44.
Um, yeah, loved that article, loved the research. Please continue to create new waves that I could focus on for the rest of my life. We also have to get into the passing of James Earl Jones. R.I.P. James Earl Jones. I believe he was 93. He was old. I think that was what?
He probably never drank or had carbs, I would say.
He blew right past those two waves. I mean, that man defied all the odds. 93 is above the average of life expectancy. So congratulations to him. But he is also dead now. So RIP James Earl Jones. I will say this. I did celebrate him a little bit. He died now, I think it was like what, 2 weeks ago? It was on a Monday. And
Did you watch The Sandlot?
I had the bright idea. Uh, Maybe a week prior, I had a buddy who grows mushrooms just give me a Ziploc bag full of mushrooms, right? And it's just sitting in my backpack. And James Earl Jones dies, and I go, you know what I should do?
It's time.
I want to celebrate my man, and I think the most appropriate way to do that is to eat mushrooms and watch The Lion King.
Oh, yeah, right. That's right. He was Mustafa. I forgot.
And buddy, let me tell you, I don't regret it, but it was not the smartest choice.
What did you do? Did you just go
It
like
was
into like
just
a
it was just
childlike state?
so I was very emotional.
Oh, really? Did you cry?
I didn't cry.
Come
I
on.
can't cry. I would
Oh,
if
yeah,
I
you're
could have
not
I
a
would
good.
have.
Yeah, fuck.
I mean, I
Stinks.
couldn't do it. Maybe two tears. Maybe I got two, maybe three. I'll take them, but
Pushed him out.
but just bottled it up all inside. But still, there, dude. Whew, just hit me so hard. I mean, Timon and Pumbaa were awesome. I'm like, this is the
Yes.
greatest thing ever. They're singing Hakuna Matata. I'm high fiving Arnold. It was incredible. And then we get to the end, and he's like talking to his dad in the sky. This is the
Yeah.
Matthew
I'm
Broderick.
always here.
Yeah, this is the Matthew Broderick Simba. So
Yeah, not the
not Jonathan Taylor
JTT.
Thomas. Yeah,
Yeah. Right, right, right.
it really does. I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I don't know if it was the mushrooms, but the voice changing, I didn't love. But dude, man, if you really just want to, if you have better, if you're more in touch with your emotions and you love James Earl Jones, eat some mushrooms and watch The Lion King on a Monday night. It was an experiment for it was a life experiment for sure.
Totally
I,
normal life here.
I don't know if I'd ever do it again. But I wanted to celebrate my man, and I felt like that was the way to do it. So, R.I.P. James Earl Jones, obviously, an iconic voice actor. And there's this article that I brought up that I wanted to just kind of touch on. We don't have to really get too much into it. It's definitely something that a
Hold
lot of
on.
people are talking. Yeah,
I have a question.
yeah.
What other actor do you think would like be not like devastating, but would like move you if they passed right now?
Who would make me emotional if they died right now?
Somebody that you have like a connection to, like through their movies or whatever. But yeah,
Mm,
like if
that's a
somebody passed right now, who do you think like you would like take some time out for?
I mean, it would have to. I get. Well, there's two ways of looking at it, right? So it's like there's actors that are young that if they
Hmm.
died right now would bum me out just because they're young and like we lost them too early, kind of thing.
Okay.
But if are you saying more on like the lines of like the James Earl Jones, like that kind of level of person?
So I'll give mine. Like mine, like if Michael Caine went, I would like take a day. I would watch all the Batman movies. I would watch The Kingsman. I would watch like everything that he's done. Like a Michael Caine passing would be like,
Perfect. That just makes me think of Michael Keaton. If
okay,
Michael Keaton died, that would bum me out. I don't know if it would. It wouldn't be I wouldn't be eating mushrooms and watching his movies,
No,
but
that'd be weird.
I'd be bummed. I love Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton is kind of he's not under the radar. He's obviously very famous. He just Beetlejuice, whatever, just came out and
Yeah,
whatever. The dude's got some legendary movies, but I feel like he's still kind of underrated. There was a great article that came out about him recently where he basically just talks about how could have been such a bigger movie star, or he should have been, but he turned down so many movies because he just didn't want to work. He's like, I just wanted to hang out with my kids. Like I wanted to be a dad. So like he turned down, I can't remember any, but he turned down some crazy stuff. But still, I mean, he was Batman and Beetlejuice and Mr. Mom and, whatever. The dude was a legend. Honestly, favorite Michael Keaton character?
multiplicity.
No. The other guys with Will Ferrell,
Oh yeah, where he's like
where he's
the
just the entire movie, he's just very subtly quoting TLC lyrics the entire movie.
and they're like, is that a TLC lyric?
I mean,
That's from
dude,
Crazy Sexy Cool, isn't it? And they're like, he's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
just incredibly underrated character.
That is funny.
Underrated. One of my favorite movies. Underrated movie. Michael Keaton would get me. I feel like there's got to be other ones. I'm trying to think. I'm so bad at like thinking. Ooh, Mark Hamill. If Mark Hamill died,
Oh
that'd bum
yeah,
me out. I'd be
probably
pretty
getting
sad.
close.
I mean, I know it's kind of related to James Earl Jones, but that would bum me out if he died. Yeah, I don't know. That's something I'd probably have to think about a little bit more. I don't know if I could pull anybody off the top of my head. Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of people that if they passed away. What is interesting about the story, and again, it doesn't have to be a whole part of the podcast. We're already getting pretty deep in here. We're getting close to being done. Um, but I just thought it was interesting that before his death, he basically signed all of his rights away to this startup company to preserve and be able to recreate his voice for Darth Vader and like pretty much all other future projects. So if they made another Lion King or if they make another 9 Star Wars movies or whatever it is, he wants to make sure that they don't replace him. He doesn't want, like the Rick and Morty treatment where they just find some voice
Wow.
actor who could do the same voice. You know what I mean? Like he wants it
Yeah,
to be him. These are his characters. And I do love that. I love that he had clearly such an appreciation for Darth Vader that he's like, no, no, no. Disney Plus is going to keep making these series and I want if they make some new Darth Vader toy that you push the button and he speaks, I want it to be me. I want it to be me forever. And now we have like these obviously these AI companies to where it'll be him forever. And his family will continue to make money off of it, and I'm sure he appreciates that as well, to being able to support his family through these different voice acting gigs. And I mean, I don't see why he couldn't have somebody representing him for the rest of his life. They have his voice forever. Why couldn't his manager continue to pitch him for voice gigs and get his wife or kids or whoever? I mean, essentially, his family could live forever off of his AI voice. So yeah,
but does his
he's
family make any money off that?
I would, well, yeah, I guess that's a good question. I'm sure it was either, so yeah, he signed over the rights to his voice. So maybe it was a lump sum. I can't imagine he did it for free.
Yeah,
There's
you're
no
right.
way he was just like, oh yeah, you could just use my voice.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a very complicated contract. Maybe he got like a lump sum. I can't imagine you're doing lump sum because
I
how
don't
many
know.
more Star Wars movies are they going to make? How many
A
more
million.
Star Wars commercials and toys and all these things. I would assume he's probably getting a percentage of whatever they use his voice for forever.
He lives on now.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. And like I said, they could have, I'm sure, found somebody else who's a voice actor who could sound exactly like him.
Frank
So
Caliendo is pissed.
So from the grave, he's basically stealing people's jobs. But but I do also, it would bum me out if there was like a new Star Wars movie, even though I haven't watched a new Star Wars anything in 10 years. But if I did, let's pretend I care. And I watched a Star Wars movie and it didn't sound perfect. You could
Yeah.
tell it's not James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
I think that would probably bug me
Okay.
if I cared. People that care, it would probably bug them. So I do like it in that sense. It's like at instead of just ending Fresh Prince, we get a new Aunt Viv. They should have just ended it. Aunt
I like
Viv
it.
Bailed. You should have. That should have been the end.
Do you think this is anything like the Tupac hologram thing?
Well, it's I guess it's similar, but Tupac didn't know that they'd be able to make a hologram of him, or
Right.
maybe he did. He did seem to have a pretty smart outlook on things. But I don't think Tupac thought, there's going to be this thing called Coachella, and they're going to want to make some money off of me for a bunch of shitty white people in terrible hats, and
Got
and
me. That got me.
yeah,
Okay, sorry.
I just think that it's different in the sense that James Earl Jones was able to make this decision himself. I don't think Tupac probably would have sat down, when he knew he was close to death and been like, "Yes, please. I would love for there to be a hologram of me at Coachella both weekends. I'll only do it if you do it both." Like, I don't think, I think there's a difference in that sense that James Earl Jones was able to make this decision himself and Tupac wasn't.
As soon as
The
Tupac sat down, he was close to death.
the hologram stuff I don't love. That's very odd to me.
Okay.
Um, I
Different.
don't think I just don't think you should be doing it, with people that have no say in being able to. I guess you could talk to the estate and if I'm sure whoever family member, whatever family member is in charge of the Tupac brand. But even then, it's like selling Kurt Cobain's journals. Could you imagine if Kurt Cobain walked into an Urban Outfitters, which I can't imagine he would ever do, but if he
Saw
somehow,
Nevermind there.
yeah, look, he's walking down the street and he's just got to take a piss, and the only bathrooms at Urban Outfitters, and he walks in and he sees his journal on the table next to like a cookbook where everything's made with dill. I mean, he would kill himself. He would buy a new gun
And do it again.
and do it again inside the Urban Outfitters. Hopefully with a perfect splash of blood on everyone around him. I mean,
They'd sell those shirts.
can you they would immediately get some sort of photo with like police tape in the background and put it on a white t-shirt instantly. But I mean, dude, nothing makes me crazier than a Kurt Cobain journal at an Urban Outfitters.
Yeah, that is. I didn't even know that existed. That sucks.
I don't look. They sell Kurt Cobain's journals. They made them into books and they sell them. It just feels right to the blame on Urban Outfitters. I don't know if they actually do sell them. They probably do. But yeah, I don't know. I liked this because again, he was able to make this decision himself. I would have shit all over this if the story was different and it was like, James Earl Jones' daughter sells rights to
Right.
voice. I would have hated that. But the fact that he made this decision himself, and whatever, it is getting into the weird AI world because this is like some weird AI startup company. But either way, I'm sure all the Star Wars fans are excited that that character and that voice will live on. And this is sort of the future of, I think, professional voice acting to a certain extent, because if you are, an actor or an actress that does do predominantly voiceover work, you could continue to get gigs and make some money for your family after you're gone with these different startup companies. How long will it take before they're taking complete advantage of his voice and using it for things that he would never do? I'm sure that's coming. But as of right now, I think it's kind of cool.
I hope it doesn't go there. It is tricky, but you're right. I do think that there's a very significant difference between what I was comparing the hologram to this because he did give consent. Hopefully, yeah, his family makes money off of this because and it will be cool too, honestly, like when the next Star Wars movie comes out where he's voicing Darth Vader, where it's kind of like a shout out, like a an homage to his life and his legacy. I think that will be cool.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I love that he still gets to be a part of all that stuff. And you know, like I said, hopefully nothing bad comes from it because I'm sure all of these AI startup guys only have the best intentions
I'm
for
sure they're the best
their
people.
AI voices that they now
Yeah.
own.
Yeah.
All right, that's I think that's all we got for today. Um, just a quick update, really quick, because I'm still obsessed with these astronauts. We're recording this on September 24th. It's not going to come out until a little bit later, so who knows? All of the astronauts could be floating in space dead by now. But this week, on Thursday, September 26th, NASA is sending up a rescue mission crew to the International Space Station to bring home the two stranded astronauts that have been up there for months and months now. I think it's going to be a total of like 8 months that they're in space. I saw a video of both of them on the internet the other day. They both seem to be thrilled, having a very good time up there, so that's great. The only thing I want to say is it is a bummer for the two. There were two other astronauts that were supposed to go into space and be at the International Space Station, and they were kicked off the flight because they had to make room for these two astronauts. So bummer for those two guys who have probably been training and working and have earned this trip into space for years and years and years, and now they can't go because Boeing can't build shit.
Because Boeing ruined it for them, a company that they're not even associated with.
So yeah, I think it's pretty wild that we're living in a time right now where there is a rescue mission happening in space is cool. Obviously, a very strategic and basic rescue mission. All of this was planned. They're basically, like I said, they just emptied two seats on this rocket, and they're just putting two different people in it. But still, kind of cool to be living during a space rescue mission. And I hope everything obviously goes well. And I think it'll be interesting to read the tell-all books from both of these astronauts when they get back. How quick do they get book deals when they land on the ground? I mean, immediately? Did they already do an e-sign in space on their iPad? What do you think?
Netflix is waiting for them at the on the
The
tarmac.
moment they land,
Yeah.
they walk out the door and there's a camera on them, and
Yeah.
it all of that footage will be used in the documentary.
Yes, 100%.
But either way, there's your NASA update. We obviously will continue to discuss until I don't know, for the rest of our lives. I can't imagine ever not wanting to talk about this. But that's the end. Thank you for listening. I did really no intro in the beginning here, so here's your intro. Tell your friends. Thanks for listening. Spread the word. All those things. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. All that stuff. Stay up to date on what's going on with the show. We've got some really great episodes coming out. Oh, and quickly, this is episode 11. Next episode will be the 1 year anniversary of the final word. I know,
What?
yeah, 1 year. Next episode, we will record another episode after this one in 3 to 4 weeks, and that will be a year of us
Oh,
doing this
shit.
program together.
Unbelievable. That's
I can't
unbelievable to
believe
me.
it. I can't believe it. So I would love to do something special, maybe a surprise guest. Maybe we'll wear party hats on Zoom while we record the episode. I don't know.
Shirts off.
Shirts off. First ever full video episode. Me and Gary both completely shirtless. Maybe we try. You're going to be in town, like you said. Maybe we try
Hmm.
and record the 1 year anniversary episode together in person. I don't know if we'd be able to
Wow.
pull that off, but
I'll
either
see.
way, it's coming up. So get ready to celebrate 1 year of just pure death obsession.
It's really changed my life and not for the better, to be honest.
I can't think of a better way to end the episode. Goodbye, everybody.